Alright. Welcome back to Nick Lenz Comic Corner Classic. That's non-classics. Episode number 3113 and Doubleshot number 3007. Both of these trade the next trailer like the finals for both of these two series. First up we have is Blade Volume 2 Evil Against Evil. This collects issues 6 through 10 of, I believe this is like Blade Volume 6, I think it is. Oh no, also we have Brian Edward Hill doing the writing here. We have Luigi Ferguson does issue 6. 7 and 9 is Valentina Pini, and Ella Castorgay does issues 8 and 10. Yeah, it's volume 5, though it could be also volume 6 as well. Yeah, and legacy number for Blade the Vampire Hunter is, get this, 34 to basically 38. Yep. Yeah, these are the remaining issues. So, what happens in these issues? Well, pretty much basically you have Blade going back to the nation of vampires to be trained by Dracula himself. You know, his arch nemesis, to defeat this mother of all evil, for reasons unexplained here for this book. Yeah, they call it Danny. And then he gets contacted by Bruce Banner. You're thinking, why the heck is Bruce Banner in a Blade book? Now, to my knowledge, he has never met Blade before prior to this. Like, Blade has never met the guy before. Apparently they have met previously. And those of you curious, how the heck did Bruce Banner contact him? He called him. How? Because apparently his number was in the phone book and he can't get in contact with Doctor Strange. Excuse me, they do explain the reason for this. Now, why couldn't he get... Now, apparently, according to Blade, Doctor Strange is irritated with him because of unleashing this particular evil and destroying the weapon that could easily see it. That's why he's frustrated with him. And he's basically here to deal with a problem from the pages of Incredible Hulk, because Hulk is like very horror-based now, and like Bruce Banner's got long hair in this book. So he keeps reading phrase, you called me, and of course this all deals with exorcism, and of course basically because Bruce Banner is a scientist, he has what to do, so because he could contact Doctor Strange, he couldn't contact Blade. Now Blade knowing someone like Doctor Strange or Wolverine, that makes sense because they have interacted before multiple times over the years. The Hulk? This is plain bizarre, to say the least. It's like Brian Edward Hill. He was a big fan of the Philip Kennedy Johnson run for Hulk, so he's like, well, he's also got Dr. B in this book. And this is one of those rare times where you have Hulk appearing more outside of his title under this writer than he had in the last several years. Because he also guest starred an issue of Wolverine, believe it or not. Yep, and after this little thing is wrapped up, And then he decides, oh, let's go after this, Eyebrow the Collector. And of course, of a guest appearance these last few issues by Santana Hellstrom. Damon Hellstrom's hot half-sister who has horns now. Yeah, she's had this last several years. And she kind of becomes a supporting character the last few issues for reasons. And this all leads into him killing off the character Eyebrow the Collector. Well, yeah, Dana, they kill off another character who is Tenka. And by the last issue, they kill off the creature who debuted in issue 1. And all he wanted to do is sit down and just do absolutely nothing. Yeah. Kind of underwhelming ending of the book. And I was shocked that this book just ends after 10 issues. Now, of course, there's a reason for this, because Blade became the main villain of the Bloodhunt crossover. Which, should point out though, not the first time he's been a main villain of a story. He did this also in the 1990s in the Midnight Massacre storyline. Ladies, that storyline was interesting. This is just like, oh, he's possessed by the spirit of the first demon, and he getting this whole thing is set up for another crossover that's happening right now. I do like the first trade. I enjoyed it really well. This one feels like it's good at some points. I'd say the biggest highlight of this book is Blade team with the Hulk. Does it not mix? Now, like I said before, now in the case of this, Hulk has never met him, and yet somehow he got his number. My guess is he must have got it from, like, Wolverine, possibly. He must look at Wolverine and say, hey, it's Blade's number. I'm going to basically put that in my phone, or at least whatever. But the thing is, Bruce Banner doesn't carry a cell phone. He must have wrote it down in his pocket. Yeah. But final thoughts on this run for Blade. Very interesting storyline when it comes to Blade. Yes. I was very happy to see this book return after, get this. Okay, so, those of you who are very curious though, how long has it been since the last official Blade book was released? Excuse me. The last time? I kid you not, was back in 2006. Yeah, that was the last official time that the Blade had an ongoing series. And that was 12 issues. This book is the same length as Volume 1. Yeah. As the very first Blade comic ever released. Aptly titled Blade the Vampire Hunter. Yeah. But it's not a really good book. And a friend of mine basically was really hoping that the whole thing of like the Vampire Nation be forgotten, but not the case. Yeah, and this is virtually the same length as the original Blade book from the 90s, Blade the Vampire Hunter, roughly 10 issues, which makes it tied for the second longest Blade book to date. Yes, this is 100% completely true. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of course, there's another Blade book coming out for this one. Blade Red Band. But that's the book that came after Bloodhunt. So I'm going to book roughly a 9 out of 10. Next up, basically, we have is Strange Academy Year 2, which contains issues 13 and 18 of Strange Academy, along with Strange Academy Finals, which is a 6-issue limited series, which it brings us about 24 issues, written by Scotty Young, art by Roberto Ramos. Yeah. So in these books here, so a lot of this is basically dealing with, like, first you have a presentation thing where Emily, her speaker is Spider-Man, Doyle doesn't have Doma, which there's reason for it. Bosag represents Evan and Eric. Orga Mage Cohen is very silly. Sem represents Dizzy. Monica represents Zoe. Archive represents Toth. Gus is represented by Loki. Calv is represented by nobody. And Friday Around represents someone named German. So basically we just have more classes. We have more stuff also here with Doyle, who is Dormammu's son, and his interactions with his love interest. And a lot of this happens in here leads into the very end of the book, which has because according to a letter they want to write, because they apparently don't take him seriously, the cast of this book just leaves Strange Academy in the final issue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course they have a bit of a continuity error here with a character named Dizzy not knowing the fact that Clay spends time in Sanctum Sanctorum. Desi is the original character of this book. Mm-hmm. Of course, yes, this does lead into the Strange Academy finals, which basically these are the last, brings to issue 24 for the book. So they decided to basically have one of the characters that was Doctor Strange to order pizza. Yes. And of course, basically, this does lead to the students being re-accepted back into school. And Emily Bright herself, who is the original character of the book, she actually becomes Dylan's love interest. And I think even they start dating. Yeah, but sadly put by the final issue, they killed the character Eirik Borson, who is, well, yeah, he gets killed off by the last issue. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he is the son of Amora, the Enchantress. Yeah, the Enchantress has got 2 kids. Yep. Yep, and there is still this Strange Academy series of one-shots that come after the series was concluded. Which the book decides not to collect these books for some reason. I don't know why, but they went for Miles, for Moon Knight, and Spider-Man. But this book was a lot of fun. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely. You could say by the final issue of this book, it did wrap up a lot of loose ends related to this series. There's a lot of supernatural stuff here, and of course also they are taking them seriously. I also love the cast of this book, which is just so amazing. When I first, of course I'm also kind of in the Final Thoughts territory here. When I first stumbled upon this series, I thought, ooh, a Marvel take on Gotham Academy, an excellent book from the Bat Library that got canceled for no reason. They had to relaunch their second semester, and then they just end the book after like about 12 issues. And I think like the original Gotham Academy book was like 18, so combined you have 30-issue book. This book was a little bit long, a little bit shorter than that, but this book is a lot of fun. I do recommend people who are fans of Doctor Strange, obviously. And of course, Doctor Strange is in this book very early on. And then he's taken up because of the Doctor Strange stuff. So Clea is basically there, kind of. But not as much Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange was the headmaster of his academy. And then the task fell to Dr. Voodoo when he died. Though he later came back and he dead for a year. Yep. But not really much to say. I love Strange Academy. It's an overall really good book. Yep, so yeah, that's particularly a particular review. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications. And next I have another Comic Corner, and then I'm going to rest my voice a bit before I do my final Comic Corner for today. Okay? For the next video.